Sivakami Sapadham is a popular Tamil novel written by Kalki. The story was serialized in Kalki Weekly for 12 years and later published as a novel. A prince named Narasimha Pallavanai plays an important role in this novel, which is written using the events that took place during the reign of Mahendravarma Pallavanai. This novel was published in Kalki magazine and attracted widespread attention. 1. Paranjyothi Yatra. 2. Siege of Kanchi. 3. Pitsu's Love. 4. A Broken Dream. It consists of 4 parts. Synopsis. The story of this novel covers the battle situation at Kanchi in the ensuing Pallava War on Vadabi, the capital of the Chalukya country. It is impossible to point out who is the protagonist of this story. While the Pallava king Mahendravarman I appears as the protagonist in the first part, his son Narasimha Pallava dominates the narrative in the latter part. The history of Pallava and Chalukya country is beautifully captured in the story. This article is divided into 4 parts. Part 1. Paranjodi Yatra. The story begins with Paranjodiya's visit to Kanchi. We also learn about the conversion of Kanchi by the Jains who encountered him on the way. One of the 4 religious leaders, Tirunavukarasara, who came to Kanchi thinking of serving God, rescues Sivakami, the queen of beauty, and her father and chief sculptor Ayana, from the clutches of a religious elephant. Due to the riots, Paranjotiyar was arrested and put in jail. It was only later that the Chalukya king Pulikesi directed him towards Kanchi. He learns that the invasion is coming and that the king is keeping him in prison to praise his bravery. But before that, he escapes from prison with the help of a Buddhist monk named Naganandi Atadi who came with him to Kanchi. They pass through a tunnel to the Ayana's hut outside the castle walls. Paranjodi, who was well acquainted with Ayana through his uncle's consort, wanted to become his disciple and learn sculpture. Ayana, who was very much into herbal paintings, inquired of Naganandi about the color paintings in the Asanta caves. For that purpose, Paranjodiyar is sent to the Vindhya range with a note from Naganandi to find out more details. Her lover and Prince Narasimha Pallava, the savvy king Mahendravarma, was disapproving of this. In order to change his mind, the Pallava king had given Narasimha the responsibility of guarding Kanchi while he was going to war with Pulikesi. One night on his way to the Vindhya hills, Paranjotiyar met a warrior named Vachirabaku at a hostel. At Nadunisi, he changed the contents of the letter to Paranjotiyar to Vachirabagu without knowing the contents. At dawn the two parted. Paranjotiyar was arrested by Chalukya soldiers who came that day. He was then taken to King Pulikesi and interrogated there. Paranjodiyar was interrogated by Vachirabagu and declared innocent due to a language barrier. With the Samikya given by Vachirabaku, he continued his journey accompanied by some soldiers. That night, while the other soldiers were sleeping, Vachirabaku took Paranjotiyar and escaped from there and joined the Pallava army. After reaching there, he came to know that Vachirabaku who came with him was none other than King Mahendravarma. Part 2. Siege of Kanchi. 7 months later, Paranjodiyar is an excellent army leader who has earned the respect of Mahendravarma. As the war with the Chalukyas approached, Paranjodiyar returned home and became very friendly with Prince Narasimha at Kanchi. Paranjotiyar's friendship was the antidote to Narasimha's agony of not meeting his beloved. In this predicament, an order came from Shatrugnan, the commander of the Pallava army, to wage war on Durvanithan, a small king who wanted to invade Kanchi. Naganandi won Sivakami's goodwill by promising her a great opportunity to dance in the Chola Pandyang countries. Naganandi, who knew nothing about war, explained the disaster that would happen to him and made him stay in a Buddhist monastery. From there, Sivakami saw Narasimha Pallava invading Durvinda and was about to go to him, but was caught in a flash flood caused by a lake broken by the treacherous Naganandi. Seeing this, Narasimha rescues her and Ayana safely. Part 3. Pitsu's Love. Pulikesi, who had come there thinking of breaking the wall of Kanchi, was disappointed. Kanchi was so strong. Undeterred by this, Pulikesi climbed down outside the fort and built a basra and stayed there. Pulikesi thought that Kanchi would soon fall due to scarcity of food. But Kanchi had more than enough food to disprove his claim. On the contrary, the Chalukya army faced shortage of food. Because of this, it became very difficult to control the elephants. Unwilling to accept defeat, Pulikesi sent a message of peace and waited. King Mahendra Pallava, who did not believe this at all, sent Narasimha south to Pandyam to fight and then invited Pulikesi to the palace. He enjoyed royal hospitality and hospitality. If Sivakami came from Mandapa as requested by the king and pleased Pulikesi with her dance performance, she and her father stayed at Kanchi until the fort gates were opened. Mahendra revealed the fact that Vachirappa Kuvai himself had come before Pulikesi said goodbye. Pulikesi, who did not show his humiliation, left Kanchi and ordered his soldiers to destroy everything in sight, and ordered the hands of Mahendravarma's artists to be amputated. Viparatamariya learned about the impending disaster and left Kanchi with Sivakami through a tunnel and got stuck with Pulikesi. Only Naganandi, disguised as Pulikesi, rescues Ayana from the guards, where it is revealed that Pulikesi and Naganandi are twin brothers. Mahendravarma is seriously injured in the battle with Pulikesi. On his deathbed he realized the mistake of making peace with the Chalukya king. To get rid of this stigma, Narsimha asks Palavara to go to the Chalukya country and rescue Sivagami from the clutches of Pulikesi. Sivakami, along with other prisoners, was taken to Vatabi. Naganandi told Pulikesi that he had fallen in love with Sivakami. Then Pulikesi vowed to look after Sivakami and left, saying that he would look after the battlefront. At Vadabi, he claimed victory over Palavar and claimed victory. In order to make Shivagami dance in front of the Persian ambassador sitting in his court, he tortured the Pallavas he had captured in front of Shivagami. He followed this method daily and made her dance. Heartbroken by this, Sivagami angrily took a vow. She vowed that she would not leave the city until her lover, Narsimha Palavar, set the city on fire and rescued her. Part 4. A Shattered Dream. 9 years have passed. His father-in-law Mahendra Palavar, who was on his deathbed after being injured in the battle with Pulikesi, died a heroic death without recovering. Narsimha Varma, who succeeded his father, married the Pandya princess Vanamadevi. But in the foray towards Vadabi, his zeal was undiminished. Meanwhile, differences of opinion between Pulikesi and Naganandi were increasing. He thought that it was wrong for him to renounce his country and renounce his position. For this he kept the Pallavas from telling him about the invasion. The cause of all his confusion is Shivakami's refusal to marry him. While Pulikesi was on his way to a cultural festival at Asanda, the Palavar force surrounded Vadabik fort. Not at all opposed to this, Vadabi went to work with Palavar. A battle took place beyond the fort with Pulikesi's army, which rushed to the news. King Pulikesi was killed in this. Before anyone knew this, Naganandi took his brother's body and dismembered it. Then Naganandi, who came into the city through the tunnel, came to the battlefield disguised as Pulikesi. He cancelled the submission and notification previously announced. Angered by this, Narsimha Palavar ordered Vatabi to be burned. At the end of this story, Naganandi, who lost one hand, was spared life by Paranjodiyar because he was a Buddhist saint. Thinking that he had sinned because of the war, Paranjodiyar later became a Saivite monk. Returning to the country, Shivakami died of heartbreak after learning that her lover was the husband of another woman. Then she built a Thirumangalayam for Kanchi Ikambeshwar as a way of dedicating herself to her art of Bharat. The story ends with this scene.